Hey, thanks for stopping by. I'm Philip Call, the host of our show, We Called It, here again with Connor Lucas. How are you doing, Connor?
Fantastic, Philip.
Uh, so, I know we didn't record last week. Some things came up, but it was actually our best week ever because we didn't get to announce the picks. But I think Connor went 3-2, and I was at 4-1. It was great. He had Atlanta in the Atlanta-Washington game, and I had the football team. And the J.D. McKissick late-game touchdown saved my butt, so that was exciting.
And also made me go 3-2 instead of 4-1.
Hey,
So
you were in Vegas. That'd be making you money right now.
yeah, well, it
All
is.
right. So let's start this week off, as we always do, with Rams versus the Seahawks. If you're listening, you probably already saw the game, but at least you'll get to hear our opinions on what we thought would happen. So any thoughts for the game?
I didn't pick this one. I picked this, and only because I think I saw some crazy stat where Russell Wilson primetime games is like unbelievably. I can't remember the stat, but it didn't say that he covered the spreads. So I just know that he's got a good chance to win it. But I don't know if I have any. I couldn't choose whether or not that meant. Oh, okay. Also, he is losing Chris Carson tonight, so sorry. I think Chris Carson was a game time decision.
Yep.
No week, and I'm not sure if he's in or he's
He
out.
is out now. I have him on fantasy I have Alex Collins on my fantasy football team, so scooped him up, and I got the free backup running back with the full-time workload now.
Yeah. So if I was a betting man, I'm actually going to not bet this one. So I just don't know enough. Rams are really hot, but they lost last week. Be interesting to see how they respond from the loss. So I don't.
Yeah, actually, that's my thought. The Rams, so they played like what felt at the NFC Championship game against the Buccaneers 2 weeks ago, and then they showed up flat against Arizona. Arizona's defense looked awesome, and it's definitely not actually that good.
Yeah.
So,
No, they have. They obviously have. They have an elite pass rush.
yeah.
But their back end is questionable. They got to Tom Brady when they looked really good, and then last week they didn't. So I'm not 100% sure on. I'm not sold on the Rams being the best team or one of the best teams yet. And I'm also not sure about the Seahawks defense. So they are, I think, bottom half of in all defensive categories. So I'm not convinced, but what's the spread? Rams 2.
Yeah, Rams are giving 2.
Yeah, I just.
Connor, it looks like your audio cut out for a second. Sorry. So all I was going to add into that. Oh, there you go. You pop back. All I was going to add was that I don't trust the Seahawks. I think, like you said, their defense is extremely flaky, and their offense relies on DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett for the quick strikes. And you're not going to get those all the time throughout the game. You're going to get a couple here and there. So if you're playing in a game where you're trying to put up points, I trust the Rams to just beat down the Seahawks defense more than I trust the Seahawks to beat up on, Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald. I think the Rams will get a few more stops. I want to see the over because it's a Thursday night game. It'd be great to be watching football on Thursday night and seeing a high-scoring game. Again, though, I'm with you. I'm not going to take either side in this. Just going to sit back and hopefully enjoy what is a shootout, or at least has some exciting plays.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So let's go with one of your picks. Start. We have Philly versus Carolina. Looks like you like Carolina -3.
Yeah. So I'm actually. I did not believe this at the beginning of the year, but I think Carolina's defense is legit, and I also think I don't think that they also just added Stephon Gilmore, so I think the best got better. They don't really have any like big names on Carolina, but they have they made a couple of defensive line acquisitions. I can't remember the names off my head. Like no big names, splash names, but they are playing underpaid right now for playing, and they got a chip. And man, they might get McCaffrey back this week. If they get McCaffrey back this week, this is a slam dunk. I think that they put it on Philly. I think I would go up as high as maybe 4.5. But if they get McCaffrey back, but I still think Chuba Hubbard is good enough. Of all things, is he's got like 4 rushing touchdowns this year. DJ Moore is lights out right now. So their offense is strong. Their defense just got stronger, and Philly's a mess right now. So they have a Fletcher Cox, and I think it's Christian Barnett, and guys are solid, but everywhere else questionable. And I'm sorry, but Sirianni does not know what he's doing right now. I think they are, if not the most penalized team, they're one of the top 5. They had 10 penalties last week. I think 10 or more in their loss last week, and they got just annihilated by the Cowboys, and it was embarrassing. Jalen Hurts is not the answer. So, yeah, I like Carolina -3.
Yeah, I agree. Watching Philadelphia, it feels like Jalen Hurts is the Blake Bortles style of fantasy football quarterback. Through 3 quarters, nothing's going to happen, and then they're going to be down, and in the 4th quarter, here it comes. He's going to rush for 50 yards, throw for 200, hit a couple touchdowns, and boom. One of the best fantasy quarterbacks, but it's garbage time related. It's not. I'm just not impressed by anything that Philadelphia does. And
I don't think
their defense is better than I expected. That's about it. But their offense, it has some good athletes on it. They don't convert it into much, though, is what it feels like. The 49ers game might be what I'm holding on to, but just watching a 91-yard catch get tackled on the 1 and then 4 downs and out.
Yeah, I watched. Yeah, I'm pretty sour from last week or 2 weeks ago when Jalen Hurts and they walked into Dallas, and I think he had a pick. He he had a wide open touchdown pass to, is it Quez Watkins or Devontae Smith, and he grossly underthrew him. Like, that was one of Cedric Diggs, Trayvon Diggs, just like picks. Well, yeah, if you throw it 10 yards short, and it was, and they lost by, I think it was like 8. I can't remember what the number was, but at one point it was 28-7, and it was just like, oh my God.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, so let's head over then to Tennessee versus Jacksonville. This is a game we both have, so I'll start. But I'm just surprised that it's only Tennessee -4. I know that they've been up and down, but even last week when they lost to the Jets, they didn't have AJ Brown and Julio Jones, but they moved the ball up and down the field, no problem. It's just instead of having weapons to score, the Jets stacked the box and stopped Derrick Henry from getting in the end zone. So they had to settle for a bunch of field goals, all within like the 10 or 15 yard line. As long as AJ Brown or Julio Jones come back and gives them some sort of pass threat, I feel really good about this. And like the line will move in their favor. And then everyone knows the Jacksonville coaching situation is just a joke right now. Connor's a big Urban Meyer fan, but after last weekend's, whatever you want to call it, and their struggles, I just don't trust them. I think there was a report that Urban Meyer addressed to the team in small groups, like, wide receiver group, DB group, to tell them what happened and like own up to what he did. But apparently everyone, whenever he turned around and left the room, just laughed at him and knew he was full of crap. So it's just no respect for their coach, and so I just don't trust them against Tennessee and Mike Vrabel, who's probably one of the most respected coaches by his players. Yeah,
and A.J. Brown has been practicing all week, so A.J. Brown's probably going to be back this week from his hamstring injury. And A.J. Brown did exactly what he did last year without Julio Jones, so he'll be just fine. and he'll be able to stretch the field. But yes, no, I'm not a huge Urban Meyer professional NFL coaching fan. I think he is way out over his skis. I never thought he should have gotten the Jags job. And I thought, man, he is going to struggle. And sure enough, he is going to struggle. And he has. I'm shocked that this is a 4 line, a -4. This is definitely an overreaction to the Jets' loss. I also think Tennessee's 2-2.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they'll find it, and I think this is a good game to find it because DJ Shark gone for the season. Trevor Lawrence has Marvin Jones, and he has Laviska Shenault. James Robinson showed up last week, but I also think that Vrabel's going to figure it out on defense, too. He's a defensive coach, and I know that they've struggled at the beginning of this year. I think he figures it out. I think he's one of the smartest coaches in the NFL. He is on the good side of Bill Belichick's coaching tree, not the bad side like Romeo Crennel or the Matt Patricias of the world. So
there should be you remember the Cleveland Browns quarterback jersey, like where it had all the starting quarterbacks? They need one of those for Bill Belichick's failed disciples.
Yeah. The Brian Flores's, and then the Mike Vrabels, and then you've got the Romeo Crennels and the Matt Patricias. So, yes, so I am bullish on Tennessee, and they can't stop the run. Jags can't stop the run, and they get AJ Brown back, so play action will be there too. So, -4 is pretty low.
Yep, agreed. If Julio and Brown were here, I feel like this is at least a touchdown, maybe 8 or 9. But
here's the other thing. He's going to be moving that way. Now it's going to just be like one of those ones. It's just a really terrible beat, and all of a sudden, Trevor Lawrence is going to look like the number 1 overall pick, and Urban Meyer's going to come back.
Yeah. All right, so let's check out the San Francisco versus Arizona. I was thinking about this one hard, but I couldn't find myself to go against Kyle Shanahan. Why did you do it?
2 things. I think Jimmy Garoppolo hasn't been able to practice all. So, number 1, I think Trey Lance is going to have a handful, maybe more, of 3 and outs. Okay, so he's going to go 3 and outs.
Before you continue, did you see his his first 6 or 7 throws? I was just watching on ESPN's Gamecast, and I saw a 76-yard touchdown to Deebo. I'm like, probably a really cool play. No, Deebo Samuel standing 30 yards open, and he doesn't even move. Trey Lance hits him in the chest with the ball. No one's even near him, to the point where he can just take off down the field like it's nothing. It was the most disappointing play I had ever seen for a long touchdown.
I think he ended up right around 50% completion percent. It was not impressive. I mean, after that, he is 20 years old. I think it's going to be a Justin Fields-esque. Now, the caveat is Kyle Shanahan is way better than Matt Nagy. Yep. But you're going to have a handful of 3 and outs, and I think you're going to have, if not more than a handful, and you're going to give it to Kyler Murray in that offense, who all of a sudden A.J. Green is resurrected, Rondale Moore, James Conner's resurrected. They took risks on these guys, and they're actually paying off. And Kyler Murray's going to win the MVP this year. So, on top of that, their defense is formidable. Yep. Number 2, I don't know where everyone is on this boat with San Francisco being this juggernaut of a defense. They're not who they were when they went to the championship within the last, 5 years. I don't see that. They got Nick Bosa, sure, and he can wreck a game. But who else? And so, guess what? Kyler Murray's going to read your defense, and he's going to get the ball out super fast. So that's how you stave off a pass rusher. So yeah, I'm all in for Arizona now. They're 4-0, and they're likely to fall, sure, but I'm in right now on Arizona.
Yeah, I'm in on them. I just wasn't in enough to bet against Kyle Shanahan. I think I just have a crush on Kyle Shanahan and Trey Lance. My biggest fear, though, is that Shanahan comes out of nowhere with the old RG3 offense from Washington with Trey Lance. He says we run 5 plays: read option right, play action deep, play action crosser, and then that's it. That's all we really need. Maybe an actual just zone read run play. But I think if he comes out with an offense built around Trey Lance, San Francisco will probably just catch Arizona off guard and make this closer than it should be. I still think Arizona wins, but I feel like San Fran can keep it closer than I expect them to if they were to have just Jimmy Garoppolo starting.
Yeah, we'll see. He'll update that for the RG3 offense for RPO offense. Yep. It wasn't RPOs when RG3 was there. It was more or less pull it and throw it, flash fake. This is true RPO. So Trey Lance, he's still 20. He still went to North Dakota State. Still going to have a learning curve. So.
Yeah, he has one football. He had one full football game played in his last 5 years, or his last 2 years. All right, so we'll move on to another one of my picks. We got Green Bay versus Cincinnati. This one blows my mind. Green Bay -3 against Cincinnati. Cincinnati beat Minnesota on a fumble late in overtime when they shouldn't have even had the lead in that game. Minnesota just didn't play until the second half. Then they lost to the Bears. Can't remember. I think they beat the Steelers and the Jaguars. There is nothing impressive about who they are to this point. And the only knock I have against Green Bay right now is that they got killed by New Orleans in week 1. But we see those games, and it seems like Green Bay is shaking it off and just started kicking everyone's butt since. So
yeah, I'm actually I didn't give enough thought to that one, but that sounds about right. New Orleans left a bad taste in my mouth,
yep.
And I don't know. I just don't know. I think I might even bet that game. I might even take the Packers on that too, but I don't know. You also think about Joe Burrow's not bad. Joe Burrow's probably going to be out, but we'll see. Mixon's been a good rusher, but in terms of yards per carry and total yards, but I don't think he's been a difference maker. Obviously, the difference makers have been the wide receivers, and I think they get this week. So that's maybe the only thing that I could say going against that.
Coming into the year, I expected Cincinnati to be one of those 9-8, or what is it now, 7-10 to 10-7 teams, where if you get the lucky breaks, you end up on the good side of everything, and you can potentially be a wild card. And I think they got the good side of breaks. When they beat Minnesota, when they beat the Jaguars, and then I'll give them credit for getting a good win against Pittsburgh. They actually looked like a legit team there. But I don't know. They almost lost to Jacksonville. I can't see Green Bay losing to a team that is truly a less caliber than them. I think New Orleans has good players that can match. I don't think Cincinnati has that. I think Devontae Adams goes off. You have Aaron Jones, and then their defense has been much better than I expected. Getting good cornerback play out of Jair Alexander and then Eric Stokes. So I'm just excited. They have a good young D-core. All right, and then another one of my picks, we have New England versus Houston. Now, this one, I am going with the under. It's 39.5. It's ridiculously low, but this is a real quick take. It's Bill Belichick versus a rookie quarterback. That rookie quarterback is Davis Mills, so it's even worse. And they're just going to run the clock out. It'll probably be 21-0, game over. So I'm done.
I'm with you on the Bill Belichick versus Davis Mills thing.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% convinced that they can't put up anything. However, Davis Mills put up a big old goose egg last week. So against the Bills D. Now, I'll take the Bills D probably over New England's defense, especially now that Gilmore's gone. But they looked good against Tom Brady. So, man, I am 39 now. I actually thought about taking the spread in this one just because of how
Davis Mills. He burned you once. Now you're just going to bet against him.
But I called it last week. Yeah, I think no, I didn't call them. I thought you were crazy for taking the 17.5 last week.
Yeah. All right, for the record, I didn't take 17.5. It was my article. I took the Bills minus 10 in the first half, and that was right. But that was also right for the game, too. So
it was right for both of them. Yeah, I got to stay away from this one just because those lines, both of those to me are just ridiculous. But I totally could see it being 28-7.
Yeah, that's why I took the under. I'm just like, I could see the Patriots rocking this, but in Patriots fashion, where Mac Jones travels all the way down the field and gets a field goal. Does that about 10 times, and that's the game. That's all she wrote.
Like basically.
All right, so now we got our last game with the pick. It's the Jets versus Atlanta. So it's like I'll be writing an article on this one.
Okay.
We have Jets -3, total 45.5. And I'm going to cheat a little. I'm going to take Atlanta minus 1.5 in the first half only. And the logic is Zach Wilson is terrible in the first half. I think he has 0 touchdowns to like 5 or 6 interceptions. And that's through 4 games. Yeah. The Jets have been getting killed in each of their game throughout the first half. Even the Titans were rocking them up and down the field. They might have had a touchdown in the first half, but that was their first half touchdown. I don't think that the Jets, they make good adjustments at halftime, and when they're down, letting Zach Wilson pull off his best Johnny Manziel. Yeah. Just tell him, chuck it deep. Let him do his best Johnny Manziel impression. It's fun and everything, but it doesn't create successful football. I think the first halves are really going to show. This one's in Atlanta again, I believe. So Matt Ryan at home. They're missing Calvin Ridley, which hurts a lot. But I think Kyle Pitts takes care of it anyway.
9:30 a.m. in London.
Oh, it's in London. So take back what I said about the home game, but I still believe Atlanta is at least well coached and a real football team enough to show up. And then the Jets, I think, are just going to be sloppy again for the first half. They'll probably cover. I think if I bet the whole game, I would say Jets +3. But the first half, they've been extremely unreliable.
So the line's what? Atlanta -3?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just not on the Zach Wilson train. I never was. I think he is a gunslinger. I think he could be good in a couple of years. I do not think he's good right now. However, he'll throw you back into games just because they're going to throw the ball 40 times. And their line isn't good. They lost Mekhi Becton, I think, for the season. I think that's his left tackle. But I say that, and Ridley is not available. Pitts is available, but Olamide Zaccheaus, that's your number one for Atlanta. Oof. Mike Davis. Now, here's the other wild card for them. Cordero Patterson, where did he come from? I don't know. But he seems to be getting this B-back, H-back sort of role, which is I can do everything. Give me 10 touches. Give me 8 touches in the air, and all of a sudden he's got 15 touches, and 8 targets in the air, and he's got 15 touches. And he's produced 3 touchdowns last week. So, man, I just don't know anything about this because that's what worries me about gunslingers. You will lose by 40. You will put yourself in a game against the Tennessee Titans just because he says, hey, Corey Davis, just go, man. I'll just launch it. And then he does. And then touchdown. So
when I was watching that highlight, by the way, I didn't realize Corey Davis was double covered. And then he's just like, just go, man. You're faster, you're bigger, you're stronger. Just chucks it.
Dropped it. Launched it. I mean, 53. It might have been longer than that because he was behind the line. 60 yards on the goal line. Launched it up like Aaron Rodgers, against the Lions 6 years ago. Yeah, I just don't know enough about this game. I just don't know enough about Atlanta. These are two teams that I've only watched handfuls of highlights of both of those.
and one of them buried you terribly last week.
That's the other thing. I'm afraid of these guys. So
fun fact. According to PFF, Cordero Patterson has a 92.2 receiving grade. It would grade as like right next to Cooper Kupp as the best receiver in the NFL. His rushing grade is actually worse than Mike Davis's though. So, but they're just using him like we got a mismatch. Cordero Patterson's huge and used to play receiver. He's big and fast. I'm just gonna throw it deep and he'll make a play.
6'3", and I think he's 225. So
4.4 speed, just a freak athlete. He couldn't run a route to save his life, but you don't need to do that when you're running back.
No. So yeah, I'm not sure on that one.
All right, so let's head over to the big game of the week. Neither of us have a side in this, but still fun to talk about. Buffalo versus Kansas City. I am so excited to watch this game because if it lives up to the hype, I think it could meet what was the Rams versus the Chiefs a few years ago. I don't know if you remember that Monday night game where it was just 51-49. Rams win on the last second touchdown and 2-point conversion or something.
I want that, okay? I want that, okay? But I also wanted the Chargers and the Vegas Raiders to be a high-scoring game, and it was not. So I have a tough time calling over here. Difference being obviously the defenses. So I don't know. Kansas City's defense is questionable. You know, I'm not. The Bills are good. Can they put enough pressure on, Patrick Mahomes to keep him in, in the ballpark, keep him from just launching it to Tyreek Hill and Kelsey? I don't know. They had a fantastic tune-up for this by playing the Houston Texans last week and sitting all of their starters in the second half in an NFL professional football game. So
it was the second week in a row they did that. Against the football team, they were also up like 40-20, and fourth quarter they're like, Trubisky, get in there. And when you have Josh Allen on a fantasy team like I do, and you see the big white quarterback with a beautiful run into the end zone, you're like, yeah. Then you see Mitchell Trubisky touchdown, get heartbroken.
Yeah. And then you have Stephon Diggs who sits the whole fourth quarter and he's got 18 points, and you're like, why? So I can't pick one on this because I do think it's evenly matched. If I was going to, I would take the Bills +3 because I think it's 3, right?
Yep. If I was betting anything, it would be the over 56.5. At some point when you bet, you have to put your mind, your heart, and your heart aside, and you just got to keep your heart in there. You just gotta go for what you want, and what I want is Rams versus Chiefs 2.0.
Yeah,
I want to see. I don't care who wins. I just want to see a last-second touchdown or in the final minute, both teams going back and forth, back and forth. I think there was actually Mahomes had 4 turnovers that game too, and Jared Goff threw 2 picks. It was just so exciting because everyone on the field had great statistics.
Yeah,
offense, defense, didn't matter who. Sacks, fumbles, interceptions, so much fun. So
if I was to take somebody, and why I would take -3, it's because the Bills are red hot right now. They have a somewhat of a smash and dash at the running back position, which they never have had before. They've always had Diggs. Emmanuel Sanders resurrected.
Yeah.
Resurrected. I mean, we're talking weapons all over the place. And the only reason that I wouldn't take the over bet the over is because I think their defense is legit. I think the Bills' defense is legit, and I think Mahomes is. I think he's drinking too much of the Kool-Aid. I think he's a $500 million man. He got paid.
Listen to that phrase. $500 million man.
I think he's got to. I don't think he's lazy. I just think he tries too much to be. Him and Aaron Rodgers are kind of in the same boat. Everyone likes them for their commercials. Everyone likes to see them out. They're pretty boys. They like to do cool things and no-look passes. And Aaron Rodgers likes to walk on the field and walk off the field and smile at all the defenders and all that stuff, and then throw up 38. And then every once in a while he'll throw up a big old 0 like he opened the game with, because if his heart's not in it. I think Patrick Mahomes' heart is always in it.
Yep.
But I don't know. I'm staying away from it.
I'm just dying for the Patrick Mahomes behind the back touchdown. You've seen it. I've seen left-handed. I've seen no look. I've seen underhand. Next thing you know, he's just going to go full, who is it? White chocolate, Jason Williams. Drop it right behind the back. Touchdown. Everyone's going to go crazy.
NFL Street 2, yeah.
All right, so let's move on to some of the other games. We're going to go with my favorite team, the Browns and the Chargers. I actually think this is a really good game. You get a lot of symmetries between the two teams. I think it's a great test for, as a Browns fan, Baker Mayfield versus, you get to see him in action against another young quarterback. You don't just be like, well, he had a good game. You actually get to see it drive after drive, so that'll be exciting. But also, Myles Garrett is currently on his way, or the favorite to break Aaron Donald's Defensive Player of the Year streak. So if he keeps just destroying people the way he has been, I want to see that, and I want to see how Herbert does against that. So no side here. I don't like betting for against the Browns, mostly because there's too much of my heart in it. So I'm just sticking out of it. Gonna enjoy it. If I had to pick a side, I'd take the points. I'd take Cleveland +2. What are you thinking?
Well, you say symmetries. You mean symmetries on defense, because offensively...
nothing. Yeah. They have a young quarterback. That's the exact same thing.
Right. So you've got Bosa and Garrett. Okay, symmetry. You've got Derwin James, and you've got two solid DBs. One of the safety is a corner. Okay, but two Pro Bowl level DBs. So you've got two guys on the front end and the back end that match. But man, the Chargers in the first half looked lights out versus Vegas last week, and I mean, lights out. 21-0 before halftime, and it was a joke.
They had Derek Carr looking scared and not wanting to throw the ball, and their offense was moving the ball. They were hitting their plays. I think the only thing that they screwed up was Justin Herbert missed Mike Williams for an easy 70-yard touchdown.
Yeah, and broke my heart and lost my fantasy. Yes, thank you for my...
Gotta rip salt in the wound.
Herbert has potential to be number 2 in the MVP race this year. But this is the thing though. Like, if you can get pressure, then it's a pass-happy offense. And now, in the Chargers, for example, the Chargers are pass-happy. They are a pass-first offense, and it's not even close. Eckler could get, I think 2 games ago, he had 8 rushes, but he had 8 passes. So it's like, I don't know what to bet here, because here's the other thing too. Run first offense in Cleveland, the whole point of that is to bleed the clock. Play, bleed the clock. If you don't get opportunities, then you can't. That's the way to beat a team that is fast paced. That's why, going back to, Arizona versus San Francisco. Yes, San Francisco is a run first team, but at the same time, they got Trey Sermon right now. Okay, then Kyler Murray gets it back. It's going to run up a score. Justin Herbert can kind of do the same here. So I just don't know what to bet there. But the wild card is if you get pressure, it doesn't matter. No matter what. Pressure is the equalizer. And nobody right now is stopping Myles Garrett. So, and Jadeveon Clowney is sort of good this year.
Well, when you have Myles Garrett drawing double teams and you're, probably one of the best athletes in the NFL and you just have to beat some right tackle one-on-one, it makes it pretty easy to be good at football.
Raeshawn Slater, though, opened up this year, Washington football team in Chargers.
He's been a beast.
He shut down Chase Young. He shut him down.
He's been really good. Let's while I have it open, let's see what Pro Football Focus ranks him.
So that is where I would say, if I'm betting anything, what's the over and what's the spread?
47 is the over, -2. Chargers are -2.
If I was to bet this game, I would take the Chargers -2.
Well, you'd be wrong, but that's why you're not betting it. I only say that because you're the opposite of me. But Raeshawn Slater, he's 7th at tackle of 73 eligible players as a rookie. And he hasn't had the easiest, he hasn't been skating by. The Raiders had one of the best pass rushes until they ran into the Chargers. So, yep.
So that's, and you got two guys. Now, Max Crosby did make some noise in that game, but they flipped him to the right side. Yep. They moved him. And I wonder, Raeshawn Slater is going to take one or the other. He's going to take Clowney, or he's going to, if they're smart, guess what? They're going to watch that film and go, hey, Miles, you're going to line up on the right side of the offense this time. So you're going to line up at left end for this game.
Mm-hmm. Okay. He's just literally going to walk by or throw around. Storm Norton. Come on. Can't be an offensive tackle with the name Storm Norton. Let's look at the rest of the games. I don't have too much of an opinion.
I can't hear you at all.
Can't hear me? Moment. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Gotcha.
Cool. All right. So we're coming up to the end anyway. I'll cut around that. Let's just flip through these last few games. I don't have too much of an opinion on them, and I'm just not interested. First up, Miami versus Tampa Bay.
Was it 10 or something like that?
Yeah, Tampa Bay -10 over under 48. This is one of the games where I'm just like, Tampa Bay's gonna rock them. I don't bet. I don't like betting 10-point lines. The total, I'd probably take the under, but of course Tampa Bay might score 40 in a game. So just nothing that I'm even interested in here. I don't even want to watch it to see how they do against each other. I just want that game to be over and on to the next week.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that one. -10 is a huge spread. I mean, it's tough, and it's not the Houston Texans. So yeah.
All right. So next up, another -10 game: Detroit versus Minnesota. I don't know. Minnesota, 10 points is a lot to give them for being a team that's 1-3, I think.
Yeah, that was my first thought.
Also, the Detroit Lions just got gobsmacked by the Bears. Although, I will give them a break. They got down to the 1-yard line 3 times in a row and got stuffed. I don't know if that's a compliment or insult.
Goff has been better than I've expected.
Much better.
I thought he would be out of the league or a backup in like 2 years.
With absolutely no receiving options. I'll give him a lot of credit for making stuff work out of Amon St. Brown, Quintez Cephas, and I don't even know. Khalif Raymond. Like, just jokes of guys that were...
Yeah.
Okay. Here's one I actually am interested in your thoughts in. Denver versus Pittsburgh. So Denver at 3-0 last week. I think me and Evan were both on Baltimore kicking the crap out of them because they beat no one.
I think I had Baltimore on that one too. I might have. Maybe I didn't. I probably should have.
Yeah. Now, Pittsburgh, I also don't think is very good at 1-3. They haven't shown me anything impressive, but the line is only 1 point. If Teddy Bridgewater plays, I think I take Denver because I don't think Pittsburgh will do anything against Denver's defense. And I think if Bridgewater's there, Drew Lock's terrible. I will never bet on Drew Lock. He is up there. I can't remember other quarterbacks I've said this with, but he is up there with the I am staying away. This is the Fitzmagic, Taylor Heinecke. You just stay away from him because they'll blow the game for you or they'll cover it by 100. You don't risk that. So
yeah.
Like I said, Bridgewater's out there. I'll take Denver, but until I get more clarification on that, I'm sitting back. But I also think Denver just is much better than a 1 point underdog, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, but the only thing that makes me hesitant is because you remember the game 3 years ago, Ben threw 5 picks, okay? And then he responded with a 350-yard, 4-touchdown game. And basically came back and said, "Oh, I'm washed up, aren't I?" Because I remember the specific exchange between him and the reporter where he said, "Ben, people are telling you you're washed up." He's like, "Yeah, maybe I am." And he's like, "Yeah, maybe I should quit. Yeah, maybe I should retire." and then responded with a 400-yard game and 3 touchdowns. That's the only reason where I would say this is a push. This is like a minus. Mm-hmm. But Teddy Bridgewater's out there. I would take him. But they're so good on paper.
I know. Nothing makes me angrier than the Steelers and watching Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, Juju Smith-Schuster be useless. All right, so let's go on to the next one. We have New Orleans versus the football team. All right. So football team is getting 2.5 points. Under is 43.5. Now, I think I would take the total in this and go over, but that is just because we have Jameis Winston versus Taylor Heinecke. I said they're both kind of, extremely erratic and you don't bet on them personally. But they're either awesome or terrible. And if they're awesome, they score a lot of points. If they're terrible, the other team does. If they're both on the field, that's just points being, you have to take it.
I'm betting awesome. I think so. New Orleans is 2-2 versus the spread.
Yep.
And their 2 wins, not even close. 38-0 and then 28-17.
Yep.
So,
and it was a comfortable 17 because New Orleans got late time, the Patriots got late touchdowns.
And then they blow it versus the last week, and then they got crushed who did they lost or they didn't cover well versus the second team after they had a huge letdown versus the Packers in week 2. Mm-hmm. But it literally was easy win, covered, crushed them, terrible loss. Easy win, week 3, terrible loss. So we're looking for an easy win.
Easy win, blowout. New Orleans got this. It's going to be high scoring too. Take the over. Take New Orleans minus 2.5. We're not betting it, but you can.
And I think Jack Del Rio is an idiot. All on Washington football team's defense and can't do anything.
That's embarrassing.
Gave up 30. He gave up 30 to Atlanta last week.
That was terrible. Did you see there was a highlight from the Saints versus the Giants, and the Saints ran the same play twice in a row. The first time they ran it's a 50-yard play-action deep pass. Yeah. Jameis hits it. Perfect money touchdown. 5-yard penalty gets called back.
I did see this.
They put Taysom Hill in, run the exact same play. 5 yards short, picked off, completely blew it.
That's what I'm saying. Sean, when Sean Payton is on, he blows out. When he does cute stuff where he thinks he's smarter than everyone, like Taysom Hill for Jameis Winston on a 50-yard bomb, stupid. Stop trying to be cute. Give it to Alvin Kamara. Also, Alvin Kamara, first time in his career, no receptions last week.
I was going to say, they don't throw him the ball, and they have to fix that. I don't care if it's like you just sit Jameis down and you go, Jameis, all week we're going to run one play. You're going to, every time we run a play, you throw it to Alvin Kamara, and you just build it in. Yeah.
Check down.
Have Marquez Callaway running wide open down the field, and if Jameis throws it to him, just like hit him with the yardstick.
Check down. So that'll change.
Yeah.
Dumb enough to not give the ball to Alvin Kamara. So I'm taking Saints.
I just think it's stupid, especially to run him 24 times. It drives me crazy when teams take talented dual threat backs and then just use them stupid. And they're like if the Browns ran Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt each 15 times and didn't throw the ball once to Kareem Hunt, I would kill him. Because it's like half of the reason he's good is because he catches, and it just drives me crazy with the Saints right now. We'll see if they can change that. Let's go to the Monday night game, Colts versus Baltimore. The Colts are the grilled chicken with rice and broccoli dinner. I have no interest in anything about them at all. I think they're fine enough that they're like it's like if you get it, you're not mad about dinner, but you don't want it. And then so I just don't want it's like not interested in talking about this game. Baltimore, they should rock them, but giving 7 points is a lot for a team that doesn't have a receiver that can catch. Now, sneaky fantasy guy, Rashad Bateman, I think is the rookie receiver for Baltimore. Whenever he comes back, if he shows the ability to hold on to a football, I think he'll tear it up.
Marquise Goodwin or Marquise Hollywood Brown.
Go to the Detroit Lions game and watch those highlighghts.
Got
3 touchdowns dropped. Everyone's like, oh, they barely beat him. No, they crushed the Lions. Hollywood Brown just has, what's it called? But eating too much popcorn.
Yeah. I don't know what to bet. I agree with you on Indianapolis. I just have zero desire to watch them. I have zero desire to bet them. I have zero desire to do anything with them because
that's a big problem for me. I'm just realizing if I have no interest in watching the game, I don't want to bet it.
I'm unimpressed with Carson Wentz. I think he's bold.
They don't have receivers. Jonathan Taylor's their best receiver. Well, Michael Pittman's actually a good receiver. I'll give him that. But they have nothing outside of him. It's just so boring to watch the Colts.
Yeah, I just don't see that. And they have a good defense, so they slow down the game sometimes. And I have no desire to watch the Colts right now.
All right, so let's move on to the last game of the week. We have Giants versus the Cowboys. Now, it's Cowboys minus 6.5 and a total of 52.5. I don't want to bet either.
Oh.
But if I had to lean one way, I would lean the Cowboys. I'm not saying bet it, but I don't think the Giants are good. And everyone's saying, Daniel Jones, he's fixed his turnover issues. No, he hasn't. He hasn't thrown an interception all year. It's going to happen. It's not. He didn't cure it. I think when I wrote on the Giants a few weeks ago, I think I wrote on the Giants last week or 2 weeks ago, and he has the number 1 aggressive throw percentage, which is he throws into tight coverage more than any quarterback in the NFL. Teams aren't making him pay yet. And now he's getting Trayvon Diggs on the other side, who jumps routes.
He's the most aggressive corner in the NFL.
Yeah, and he doesn't do it like, by accident. He has 5 interceptions for a reason. He knows what he's doing.
By the way, he'll also get by being too aggressive. I mean, that's just part of being an aggressive player. So,
good quarterbacks can burn them. Good offensive coordinators can burn them. Jason Garrett and Daniel Jones, they can't do it. Next week, I don't know who's going to be against the Cowboys, but don't give me Jason Garrett. I know it was revenge game. Jason Garrett's another one of those. He's not even grilled chicken. He's steamed or broiled chicken. Just getting super vanilla out there.
Coach clap.
Yeah.
We just lost by 30. I'm not on the Giants train at all, actually.
So I hate the Cowboys, but I gotta respect them. I think they're looking good.
Because they got a defense.
Yep. Their defense is way better than I thought, and their offense is filling in for Michael Gallup much better than I thought it could. So, and Zeke apparently since week 2 decided to get back into shape and actually start running the football. Incredible how losing your snaps to someone who might take your job and cost you a bunch of money gets you really motivated.
Well, 2 things. Didn't cost him any money. He got $90 million and $45 million guaranteed. So
well, I was going to say, it could cost him, I don't know how much he has left to actually earn on that deal. He could lose that still.
Sure, he could still lose half, but 45, yeah.
That's more than enough, I agree.
So I would say, I would still say, I'm just not, I'm not on anybody's train there, but I would say that Dak has looked good. Schultz has filled in for Gallup. Yeah, like a top 6 tight end right now in fantasy. Saying that can't continue. There's way too many mouths to feed. Zeke looked good this year after week 1, but week 1 they were playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he literally they were down the whole game.
He had a sprint to a pylon against a linebacker, and he got crushed 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Make it, but he looks like the Zeke of old.
Yeah,
good, but yeah, they just. I still wouldn't take any of these numbers though. I wouldn't take either of them.
Completely agreed. So, if you want to hear what we would take, listen to the beginning of the podcast once more. Well, thanks for listening this far. If you have, Let us know on Twitter, Facebook, wherever you can, what your picks are or why we are wrong about ours. Any last words, Connor?
I think we're just going to mess around this week and not lose any games. So keep listening.
Yep, that's right. Gonna make a crap ton of money moving our big old fancy mansions.